Dum-dum, Tweedle-dum-dum, Tweedle-dum-dum, Tweedle-dum-dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered. He did what we all must learn to do. You and you and you.
Hello, South Africa, and welcome to Duck and COVID episode 5. We are back here. It's me, Grant, and Doug, and Matt. And we have our special guest all the way from Cape Town today, Gideon Lombard. How are you doing, Gideon?
I'm good. As good as can be. I mean, I was saying to Matt earlier, you kind of go through the full spectrum of everything the whole day. There's like fear and anxiety on the one end. And then somewhere around like early morning, there's some hope as well. So yeah, good.
Yeah, I find puppy videos are good for that.
Yeah.
Good little dog players and things like that. There ain't no shame in watching an hour of puppy videos. That's all I'm saying. But yeah. Before we get into the chat, though, I'm going to give over to Doug. Let's get our daily news. Doug, what's happening in the world?
All right, well, just real brief. There hasn't been a huge amount of news in the last 24 hours. The world has cracked 800,000 cases of COVID reported with 809,444. So we've less than 200,000 to the big 1 mil. And South Africa, it has gone up to 1,353 cases total. And unfortunately, another death. So that brings our total of the dead to 3 dead so far. If you were listening yesterday, you would have heard me say that Kaya Leacher declared their first case of COVID-19. They became the first township to have a positive case of COVID-19. However, Alexandria was not far behind with their first case being announced, I think late yesterday or early this morning. Police have isolated 5 other people who were known to be in contact and are doing tests in the area. So Alexandria does have cases as well. And in other news, the Command Council, the COVID Command Council, it's the Minister of Health and everybody, had a big meeting today where they outlined what the president was saying, about how many more tests, how we're going to do the whole using cell phone geolocation to when somebody tests positive, see where they've been in the last few days to kind of track everybody who they were around to try and speak to them, get them to test to make sure that we're not spreading that way, and try and use cell phone data to map these things and hopefully decrease positive cases before they become an issue while people are still asymptomatic. So that's quite an interesting technological advancement that we can look at. And there also seems some sort of confusion as to the mask issue. Minister Mkhize is saying get masks and wear them. The World Health Organization is saying no, you don't need to. People are saying wear them if you're sick. So I mean, the advice that what I'm seeing, the World Organization is still saying masks aren't necessary. Just make sure you maintain your social distancing, keep your space, stay at least a meter from people, more if you can, and just stay home and try and maintain that. And that's pretty much what we've got. There hasn't been anything new otherwise. Back to you, Grant.
Yeah, I find that the whole mask debate is very interesting for me.
Mask debate.
I know. I did not hear mask debate.
I got you.
It is interesting, Grant.
It is. It's very interesting. But just like
one of those interpretations you take, yeah.
No, but the whole thing of wearing a mask is you wear a mask if you're infected, because it stops you from basically expectorating droplets onto people.
Yeah.
Or ejaculating droplets, if I should go that far. And what I think is important. But the advice that people have been giving us is like, when you go out, you must treat as if everyone is infected. So I see it as yourself, because we don't know. You don't know if you're infected or not. And I mean, if you sneeze, at least a mask is going to keep in at least about, like, I'd say 80% of the stuff. I'm not talking about the stuff that's going to come out like by your eyes and out the bottom of the mask. But I mean, if you have a beard, it might catch it. I don't know. There's also that whole debate about whether a beard or not having a beard is a good thing or not in these times.
Well, I hear what you're saying, Grant. But beards aside, Gids, you were saying earlier that your girlfriend is a medical professional, right? I'm not going to ask you to give any information, but I mean, one of the things that we have heard, and one of the reasons why we've been trying to discourage people who are not positively confirmed from buying masks, is that there is a global shortage. We don't want health professionals unable to get masks.
Yeah, so that's the big thing, right? So globally, there's a shortage of high quality masks, but in South Africa, there's a shortage because I think what this crisis is really shedding some light on is how skeleton staffed the medical field is, as is, with crisis or no. So it's just keeping head above water. So now that the water is rising, suddenly all these things are exposed. So I mean, I think for me, like, we obviously speak daily, but yeah, I think it comes back to the thing of keep your hygiene good, and keep your social distance. And I really like the attitude of act as if you have it and try not to spread it. I think that's a very useful point of entry. When I go to the shop, I wear my survivor buff. You know what I mean?
Nice.
But yeah, I think just be very, very conscious of what you're getting, what you're touching, all of that, and make sure that you don't leave a trace behind. I would go with that, and as far as the beard thing goes, one of Olga's friends, who's also a doctor, had this huge, massive beard, and the actual fitted mask couldn't fit around his face, so he shaved. But I mean,
it's always tragic when I hear about a beard being shaved.
Well, it's for a good cause.
Yeah,
I can
there you
tell
go.
That.
There you go. But I think
I mean,
sorry, no, continue.
Oh,
the Gideon, continue.
I'm the guest. Oh God, the pressure.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, the thing is if you see how hospitals are systemizing the anticipation of this, so there are no elective procedures. Everything is very essential, and systematically, these different wards and hospitals are slowly being prepped for isolation. Do you know what I mean? To slowly transfer isolation. The difficulty is our population in comparison to Italy, to Spain, to the US, wherever there's been a huge breakout of this, we have HIV and TB, which compromise the immune system considerably. So I think that's the caution of it. Do you know what I mean? And for that reason, yeah, we need to work very sparingly with what we take from the medical profession's resources as is. That's my feeling. Because the other point is people going to hospital now, there aren't only cases of COVID-19 or the coronavirus, but normal life and death still happens. You know?
Absolutely.
I think that's often, I even made the misconception of going well, everyone who goes to the hospital now has this virus. There's a whole thing, the rest.
I had a friend of mine. I saw her post on Facebook. It was the second day, I think, of the lockdown, the Saturday, and her 5-year-old son fell down the stairs and needed stitches. So they had to, of course, go to the emergency room. And I mean, that's just an everyday thing. And, during normal times, hey, these stitches is fair to get stitches. But these days,
Yeah.
first off,
Well, you know, I
you
mean,
need to do it. Hospitals are strapped, and now you're taking your kid into an emergency room where, now I'm in hospital, but he's sick. What the hell do I do now?
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you say, Matt?
I think what it all really comes down to, and this is the point that I keep on trying to hammer home as hard as I can, is like it comes down to responsibility, man. I mean, it's like, Ian was saying in episode 1 how the local bikers club in England has said, no, don't go riding. Because, then if you have an accident, you're going to end up in the emergency room and you're going to be taking away resources from these really packed out hospitals, and it just frustrates the hell out of me when you see people who aren't acting responsibly. I got into a little bit of a WhatsApp war this morning with
oh gosh.
with my neighborhood. It's like,
let me tell you, those WhatsApp wars, it's like World War I.
Man, because I woke up this morning and some lady was outside running with her dog down the road, so I sent that to the security forum group for our neighborhood, going like, there's somebody walking their dog, like, what the hell? And fucking people like, this is not a police state, we have rats, blah blah blah. I'm like, Jesus, guys, like,
we're also in an unprecedented event in here. For goodness sake, people. Oh!
And we are kind of in a police state at the moment.
Yeah.
We are. The SANDF is deployed. We things are not cool, okay?
These are, I mean,
to protect us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's take a moment. This is unprecedented. Yes, okay, it's an unprecedented situation, but it has been planned for in the Constitution. It has been planned for in the Bill of Rights. There is nothing that is happening that is not within those two documents' allowance, right? So when your freedom of movement is restricted, that is allowed under the Constitution. So when you say we're not in a police state, you're actually just ignorant, and maybe the world would be better off without your stupidity in it.
Well, all it really does for me on a perfectly personal level is just makes me embarrassed for like my social place in the world and my race and like my demographic. Because all of these people whining the most about not being able to go outside to walk their dogs are unfortunately like middle to upper class white people. I'm like, you're letting us all down, you morons and idiots. Like, that's how I feel.
Middle to upper class people, full stop.
And it's also this thing of like, I have to stay home. You get to stay home.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean? There's a big difference between that. There's so I just those like simple things shouldn't escape us.
Yeah.
But it's also like I had a conversation yesterday about like little WhatsApp battles and discrepancies and so on. And this other person just said to me, well, anything to pass the time at this stage.
This is true. Right?
Yes, indeed.
People are bored, so they want to be contrary. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I've started a Twitter war with the Minister of Arts and Culture. So.
Awesome.
What?
Fair enough.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, no, we need to hear about that now. That.
Because an inquiring artist wants to know.
Yeah, so if you go onto Nazi Mtetwa's Twitter page, the most significant contribution he has made to the artistic community in light of the COVID-19 is he's set a gym challenge, #gym challenge. So for everyone to like stay fit artist. And I just, I'm not alone in the Twitter war. I actually piggybacked it off Kyle Shepard, the pianist over here, but I've been chanting and bassist, the Hot Sticks Mabuza is in on the vibe. But it's basically just the kind of I think the absurdity of what people resort to in these times. So if you're in a position of a lot of responsibility and a lot of power, you need to consider the people who you are representing. And I just felt like, okay, well, as a freelance artist, I mean, it literally comes to a screeching halt and everything stops. Like, I know so many people who have, like, from 1 week to the next, when the festivals got cancelled, they went, I can't pay my rent. I need to move, like, within a matter of a week.
Shit.
So with that in mind, so do you know what I mean? Like, so there's at least facilitate a more useful conversation than like a hashtag gym challenge. And I mean, I
just by the way, just the hashtag gym. I assume he's talking about gym at home. I mean, I know that my gym here is closed down, and I think anybody who's going to gym at the moment is kind of breaking the law, aren't they?
Well, tell Natim Tetwa that. No, I think he's obviously talking about gym at home. You know, it's like a fitness thing or whatever. Look, I mean, that's important to stay sane, but that's a bit more objective. I would recommend that to anyone. So if you're the Minister of Arts and Culture, try and at least foster a conversation as what could be a possible solution to these things. Like get some experts in to speak about online platforms to use for artists, things like that. Yeah. But
well, that's one of the things that we're doing here, right? I mean, trying to give as much platform as possible to, Grant's an artist, you're an artist, so,
And it's great exposure for you guys.
Yes,
so much exposure.
Thank you so much for doing it for exposure. We appreciate it.
I saw a great tweet meme the other day that went, CEO, we can't possibly do all of this work and not get paid. Artist, it'll be a great experience thing for you. Think of all of the exposure.
Yeah. I think
exactly.
One of my favorite quotes that I've seen was from Bruce Little. And he's like, you know what exposure is? Exposure is when you get left out in the cold.
Yeah.
That's exposure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also been a bit of a personal bugbear for me. I mean, because I'm an artist as well, is that yes, the hotel industries have taken a knock, restaurants have taken a knock, the sporting industry has taken a knock. But I mean, especially the arts. I mean, we're viewed as luxury service, so obviously we go first. But I mean, in lockdown, what is everyone doing? They're watching Netflix, they're listening to songs,
reading,
they're looking at content created by artists, and there's just like, cut us a break, man. Just give us something. Help us to somehow get.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I must say it's funny because you say that, and I've been watching these Twitter things, Twitter things, people going, when people are sitting at home desperate, and it's the nurses and the doctors and the retail workers and the garbage men. Yes, big ups to them. I really do appreciate the work they're doing. They are essential services, right? And I'm not taking anything away from them. But they've been going on about how perhaps after this we'll figure out that we don't need to live with celebrities. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying celebrity, but I mean, in between that, of them thanking the retail guy and thanking the nurse and all that stuff, they're also sitting in front of their TV watching, Captain America or Endgame, Marvel, trying to think of something different. Binnenlanders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if you want.
To something.
What? Sorry, what was that?
That final one was Binnenlanders that I was talking about. They're not actually thinking about how much these artists do and assist them in this time, even though we may not be doing it or they may not be doing it immediately. Yeah, they're at home as well. Their work is keeping us sane.
Well, I think that it's like what people misunderstand about the artistic and cultural industry as well, is goes way deeper than the people who are just standing on that stage, right? I mean, there are sound engineers out there, there are LDs, there are technicians, stage managers, costume designers, makers.
It's a multi-million rand industry.
People that are just like, what now? I mean, there are rental companies up here in Joburg that I don't think are going to make it through this. And that's a really sad thing, man. And I don't think people really get that, but here we are.
Yeah, I think we're all just gonna have to turn to Cam 4 or something. I don't know.
So tell us,
General
I'm
level
already-
chat among the
yeah.
boys.
tell us.
Yeah, it's funny because it's true.
Exactly.
Anyway, tell us, Gideon, how's this lockdown affected you as a person? I mean, how has it really affected your life, your daily
Yeah,
goings on?
I mean, it's such a, there's like a micro and a macro answer to that, because so I recently, oh God, is this going to be on social media? Yeah, maybe I should say this.
We can edit it.
We can edit it out. You can send us your notes.
No,
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
We've gone over half an hour already, so
Okay, so I'm leaving my day job, which is almost like binnelanders. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. So end of February, and then I had a whole bunch of stuff lined up. Like I directed a whole bunch of things, and that was gonna like sort me out till about July. And middle of July, I would have left to Spain, of all places, to go study for a year. This is I've been planning for the past like 2.5 years. I spent a year applying to it's an MBA, you know, so it's a huge fucking degree.
yeah.
So all of that is just all the festival, Spain as a thing. It's just it's come to a screeching halt, and so it's been quite. But I mean, to be honest, like there's also a kind of some sense of acceptance came quite quickly, because this is so unprecedented and so without a manual, or do you know what I mean? You can't kick against it. That's simply not applicable to something like this. So I went, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like I'll be okay for the next bit. And I mean, if all really comes crashing down, I'll move to Worcester to stay with Olga.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think what's interesting about this lockdown time, and it's made me think a lot about people that struggle with mental health issues. I mean, this is very trying, because there's a sense of loneliness on a good day, you know. So this sense of social distancing, really, if you think of that term, to distance yourself socially from others, it has huge implications. And I mean, I've had that in the past. It's a part of my fabric, and obviously something like this happens, and I go, okay, that awareness is there. So it's a complex time, and as I said kind of jokingly at the beginning, you go through the full spectrum, or like the pendulum swings between both extremes, and I really mean that. I think there's some sense of resolve where I go like, oh my God, this is quite extraordinary to be able to have this time. Like the world is literally, or the universe or whatever, is literally going, yeah, you got to stop now. It also makes us realize about like what was essential. And I think all of us, especially our generation, we live at like 200 kilometers an hour just to keep like the electricity going, right? So we're very, very seldom afforded this time to slow down and go like, oh, okay, where am I? What am I? Where am I going? How am I going to get there? So yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword at this stage, Doug.
Right. I'm glad that we got there. I dare say we've got about a minute left before we have to cut short. But I've been asking everybody we've interviewed so far what book they advise people to read during this lockdown. So do you have any?
Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. It is extraordinary. And also the Bardo in Terminal, it's like the place between earth and heaven, or earth and it's almost like purgatory. So I mean, it's quite ironic that to be stuck kind of in a limbo state.
Yeah.
And it's about Abraham Lincoln's son, but the creativity behind the way this person thinks about literature is extraordinary. Lincoln and the Bardo, George Saunders. It won the Booker Prize.
Okay.
List.
Sure,
So that's us for episode 5 of Duck and COVID. Thanks very much, Gideon Lombard, for joining us and giving us your little view into your world that side.
Yeah, it's actually episode 6.
Episode 6, day 5, episode 6. What is time?
Be a professional, Grant.
Anyway.
Be a professional.
I don't know. I grabbed this jar of hand cream when you said that. I don't know. But yeah, that's us fucking COVID.
Careful.
Camp 4, baby. There we go. All the way. But yeah, that's it from us tonight, guys. Thank you for watching, and tune in tomorrow. Bye.
Hey, kids, thanks very much, man.
Cheers, guys. Lekker to see you.
There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the
Hey
turtle
Internet, Matt here from Duck and Covered. Thank you once again for watching this episode. If you liked it, please do like and share amongst yourselves and with anybody else you know. But also, and importantly, guys, please be responsible. Please honor the lockdown. We're doing it for the sake of everyone. Please don't be stupid during these 21 days. And we'll all see each other out on the other side. Wishing you health and safety, and stay good. See you guys soon.
Every one of us must remember to do the same thing.